Alright, it's that time of year again, where I basically come out and do these update videos. In other words, this is pretty much the one time of the year where I get real lazy with visuals and audio editing. But yeah, so 2024, like, I was fine with it. Yeah, I got to do a lot of stuff there, like going to conventions and stuff, and it also feels like that was also around the time I was watching a lot of new movies at the time. Like, I got to see the new Beetlejuice sequel, and sure, it had some issues, like trying to juggle so many things at once, but other than that, I had a good time in watching the long-awaited sequel to this guy. And then, of course, there was Wicked, which I'm a big Wicked fan, especially since, I always do Oz month in May. So, yeah, I was looking forward to seeing how this film adaptation would turn out. And, yeah, that was also pretty good. The only downside is that it's a two-parter, so basically, this movie only covers Act 1 of the musical, so you have to wait until, like, I guess 2025 or maybe next year for Part 2 to come out. And then, of course, there's the highly anticipated Sonic Movie 3, which I'll go more into on the Dissected Alive livestream series. So yeah, I'm looking back at the videos I've done for 2024, yeah, that was, it was definitely the year of Archie Sonic character files, getting to have more fun at doing that. So, yeah, there was, oh yeah, then the April Fool's video that, I think that was something Luke came up with, so I decided, okay, we'll go along with it, where he covers, where he hijacks my channel and talks about a Fleetway Sonic character and, scribbling out the title and calling it Fleetway Sonic Character Files. Yeah, and then, of course, there's, yeah, Omega, where me and Sally got to have some fun doing a co-op episode on that. So, yeah, that was kind of the year of doing a few, co-op episodes. And, of course, I'm still doing Forgotten Media, which, yeah, didn't do much this year, but, I had the, Oz month. I always have fun doing that. Then, of course, the Sonic Underground Tiger Electronic. That was a nice way to end out after, marathoning the show on the live stream. And then, of course, there was all the holiday specials, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of interesting with the Halloween one, where I decided to bring back Mixed Batch, because it's been so long since I did that for the series. So, yeah, it was nice to try and do that again. And, in some ways, that kind of felt more like a test ground for a project that I've been wanting to do for a long time on Forgotten Media called, I call it the 13 Days of Halloween. So, like 13 days leading up to Halloween, I talk about a Halloween-themed topic. So, yeah, but it'll be interesting if I could ever get around to doing that. And then, of course, I did the Equestria Girls comics. That was, yeah, that was interesting. I'm a little mixed with how it turned out. I feel like there were certain parts that I could have done better. Of course, then again, usually I don't really do Forgotten Media episodes during November, mostly because November is usually the time where I'm doing a lot of planning for the Christmas special. So I don't really have time to, trying to recover from the Forgotten Media Halloween special, then trying to rest up, do another one for November, then, oh, okay, let's do December now, ooh. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then of course I did a few YouTube poops here. Yeah, interesting. It was interesting trying to do the Villager News one, but yeah, I had some good jokes here and there. And then of course the Popeye one. Yeah, that was my second time entering a YouTube poop collab, where we did a whole bit about the Barbecue for Two Popeye short. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Definitely my shortest YouTube poop in general, and just the process of doing it, because usually, for me, making YouTube poops is a very time-consuming process, trying to come up with good ideas for jokes and all that. But this particular Popeye one, this one only took me like 2 days to put together. So aside from doing the my own videos on YouTube, there's of course, the Dissected Alive livestream series that I'm still part of, still going through our Sonic themed stuff and whatnot and having a good time with Roger and Luke and all the gang. Yeah, so yeah, 2024 was, I think it was mostly when we decided to cover Sonic Underground, and yeah, that was interesting. That was definitely a Sonic show I hadn't seen in a long time. I remember when I first watched it back then on the Shout Factory DVDs, I'm like, it's alright. And then after marathoning it on the stream, I'm definitely a lot more nicer to the show. Like, compared to the more recent Sonic show we got, Sonic Prime, and how forgettable that project was, it like, there's definitely value in Sonic Underground, there's, may not be as well balanced and whatnot as Sonic SatAM or any of the other stuff, but, like, Sonic Underground does have its moments, like, it kind of has this balance, I guess, decent balance and whatnot. Because, yeah, I guess that's kind of funny, because I've usually described this show as like a weird hodgepodge of elements from both SatAM and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yeah, it was interesting going through the show, like, yeah, like Sonic Underground, Robotnik's, like, yeah, that was interesting hearing Grounder's voice now doing the voice of Robotnik. So, yeah, I think over time I did start to warm up to this version, like, he's alright. Oh yeah, then of course, Manic, yeah, like out of the three siblings, yeah, Manic definitely became the fan favorite on the stream, he's the OP member of the group. But yeah, like other than that, I like Manic. He's a pretty chill guy, nice guy to just hang out and have a good time, maybe share some drinks and whatnot. And then of course that's what started our. Oh yeah, during the marathon, we also started that whole running gag of our, the most popular character of all, Big Mouth Red, yeah! Oh, that was great. So, yeah, so we did Sonic Underground most of the time, but we also did a few others. So, like, we went through the rest of Fleetway Sonic, well, at least up until issue 100, and then we decided to take a break from that. And yeah, so after that, we still had a few episodes of Sonic Underground left, so I kind of suggested, maybe we could do the Sonic Boom comics because of how short-lived that series was. So yeah, that was definitely my first time going through all of the Sonic Boom comics, because, people tend to know how I'm not the biggest fan of Sonic Boom in general, whether it be the games or well, not the games, I haven't played the games, but, it's mostly the TV show. People know that I'm not the biggest fan of the Sonic Boom TV show. So, yeah, with the Sonic Boom comics, originally I only read the first issue, and then, of course, the ones that were part of the Worlds Unite crossover. So, the stream was my first time covering all of the Sonic Boom comics, and overall, like, it's tolerable. That's the best way I can say it, yeah, it's tolerable. It's the only version of Sonic Boom that I can put up with. But yeah, we only went through like the main stories of Sonic Boom. We didn't cover the ones that were part of the Worlds Unite crossover, mostly because that's just a whole other can of worms to get into. And we're not quite there with Archie Sonic, though I love to pester Roger about it. Who knows when we're ever gonna get around to the Archie Sonic series, like a proper marathon. We covered a few, like we covered like the Sonic Underground crossover comic, and maybe we did one covering the original miniseries, mostly for the comics' 30th anniversary. But yeah, we have yet to cover a proper marathon of Archie Sonic. So nowadays with the stream, we've been doing some Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog marathon again. That's always fun, especially with that version of Robotnik. So that, and we also decided to go back and cover the rest of the Sonic X comics. And now on the stream, we covered a few of them before. Like, we covered mostly holiday-themed ones. Like, we covered a summer-themed one, the Christmas one, and, the one for Valentine's Day. And then later we also covered the Halloween one. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Sonic X comics. I've only read, like, 2 of them. And then, of course, there was the last one where they did a crossover with Archie Sonic. But, yeah, like, when I suggested this, originally I thought these stories were just kind of more self-contained, not much on continuity and whatnot. And boy, was I proven wrong when we went more with the marathon of the comics. Yeah, even so, like, yeah, I think the Sonic X comics have some, it's interesting. It does kind of feel like, I think we mentioned before, like, the comics kind of do a slightly better job at handling Chris's character. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, it feels like the Sonic X comics, that seems like something I've always wanted to do on Forgotten Media. Because, the comics have never been given the graphic novel treatment and yada yada, so who knows, maybe after the marathon, then I'll celebrate by doing a Forgotten Media episode on the Sonic X comics. So, yeah, that was pretty much it for, video projects and whatnot. Conventions. Yeah, it seems like 2024 was definitely a big year for me when it came to conventions, though. Well, it was kind of the same as like last time. But, more of that MLP-themed convention fun stuff. Yay! So, yeah, first one I went to was Winnie City. That was definitely my first time going there. And, well, the nice thing about it is that the area that I'm in, from here to there, it only took like a 2-hour drive to get to Winnie City. So it's definitely the closest MLP convention in my location. So yeah, I had a good time for my first time going there. They had a summer camp theme going on. So yeah, it was cool. I got to see characters dressed up cosplaying and whatnot. My favorite one is definitely this gal that dressed up as Radiant Hope. Yeah, it's nice to see some cosplays based on characters that are exclusive to the MLP comics. So there was that, and oh yeah, I know there was also this gal that was dressed up as Rarity, and of course, being a summer camp theme, she also dressed up as Equestria Girls Rarity from the Camp Everfree movie, and yeah, it was cool. Like she also did a pretty good impression of the character. Oh yeah, and speaking of Rarity, yeah, Tabitha St. Germain was there at that convention. Yeah, so it was my first time I actually got to see one of the main six attending an MLP convention. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I enjoyed Tabitha. It's kind of funny. Like the first time I've heard about her was it was from a direct-to-video Popeye film where she did the voice of Olive Oil and Sweet Pea, and she was actually pretty good as Olive. And yeah, later on, later know that she's done quite a lot of voice work over the years. And of course, in the MLP fandom, she's best known as Rarity, Princess Luna, Granny Smith, Derpy, Mrs. Cake, and oh gee, yeah, quite a lot of characters on the show. Yeah, too many to count. So yeah, Tabitha was there, and oh yeah, Ellie Ray was there. Yeah, I first saw her at Ciderfest 2023, so it was nice seeing her again. Yeah, and then oh yeah, then there's the that one gal that I can't pronounce her name right, but basically she's the voice of Gilda and Sonata Dusk. So it's quite the coincidence. Ciderfest 2023, I got to meet the voice of Arya Blaze. So now this year, or 2024, I got to meet Sonata Dusk. So I guess it's only a matter of time until I meet the voice actors for Adagio Dazzle. That would be nice if that could happen, yeah. I enjoyed Adagio, yeah. And especially I love her Rouge voice that she did in Sonic Prime. It makes me wish she was the current voice of Rouge instead of the one that we're stuck with. So that and, oh yeah, Big Jim Miller, yeah, big storyboard supervisor, lots of other stuff, and oh yeah, it's also the voice of, voice of Troubleshoes, yeah, that kind of one-shot character, but still, it was interesting, especially the panel that he was a part of, where they were doing a commentary on what was it? It was the Cutie Map Part 1. So that was interesting. It was nice to attend that kind of live commentary with people who actually worked on the show and provide some interesting details, and no longer being under NDA, so they can reveal all the good stuff. So yeah, it was very. Yeah, very interesting, very yeah, very informational, or very fascinating, whatever the fancy word is. The one thing that kind of surprised me was that they talked about this particular scene with the main six, sitting at the table and talking about like, oh, something's wrong with the village and whatnot. And they talk about how that was one of the hardest scenes because of all the things that go into the thought process, keeping track of which character is on which side. How do you make the scene interesting and not just be like a static shot, and keeping track of the characters so that they don't like change positions and whatnot and all this stuff. And yeah, it's basically six characters in one room, so gotta do something with them and not just have them be standing in the background doing nothing. So yeah, I had a good time with all the conventions and oh yeah, all the good stuff they had at the vendor halls. And oh yeah, then the autograph session, man, that was quite the experience because Tabitha voices one of the main characters, so of course the line has to be like freaking long, especially when she does so many characters on the show. So I went there mostly because my friend of mine, Salah, who's a part of the Dissected Alive livestream series, like he's a big fan of Derpy, so I wanted to try and get like a a voice shout out for him with Tabitha and her Derpy voice. And yeah, that was quite the long wait process. And man, I remember, yeah, it was Friday that I was going there. And it got to the point where it'd been like over an hour or so from like the planned schedule. And they're going into overtime. And then they decided they were going to cut the line off for today. And I got super lucky in being like one of the last people in line to like stay in that line to go in and, do the whole thing. And I imagine like Tabitha must be like pretty exhausted, because being kept there overtime. But she was understanding. She managed to keep up the energy and whatnot. And yeah, and yeah, I managed to get the shout out, and Sally really liked it. So yeah, definitely worth the wait. And then I remember, yeah, Saturday I kind of decided like, no, that's going to be more of a game day. So got to have a lot more fun with the panels, like quiz games, name that frame, all that fun stuff. And oh yeah, and then the script reading, oh man, that was fun. It's basically that kind of more fanfic kind of stuff, like, oh yeah, the official voice actors do their characters again in this story that's wrapped around the theme of the convention. So, campfire themed with Rarity and Gilda, and, wacky shenanigans ensue. And, oh man, like the way that Tabitha and Ellie just play off each other was just so hilarious. Yeah, man, it's definitely one of the things you just had to be there. Yeah, like there's a bit where they talk about like all the different ways of saying like throwing up and whatnot. And after going to that script reading, yeah, hearing Rarity saying tossed his cookies, that is now my favorite official Rarity line. Sure, it's a convention thing, but screw it, I'm calling it official. uh, so yeah, and then Sunday was yeah, that was a little more chill. I decided to go to like autograph room again, mostly because I wanted to try and get autograph from the voice actress of Sonata Dusk, mostly because Sonata is one of my favorites. So yeah, that was a little more that was definitely a lot more easier to get to. Like the line was much shorter for her, and yeah, I got in and yep, she was signing, and we chatted quite a bit. So yeah, she was very nice. So yeah, and then after that, I think I might have attended one more panel, but after that, I couldn't stay for closing ceremonies, mostly because I was still working early morning shift at my job, so I couldn't stay all through Sunday, alas. But even so, for my first time at Winnie City, I had a lot of fun. And of course, the nice thing about it is that the convention that was, the building that was the convention was being hosted at had free parking, so that was a nice plus to it. I also attended the Illinois Gaming Convention, which that one's, yeah, that's another close one. And yeah, I got a nice haul there. Got some nice retro games like Mickey Raceway and Bug 2 on Saturn. And, oh yeah, I definitely got quite the haul in finding some Archie Sonic comics. I've been slowly making progress to try and complete, my physical collection. Like, sure, like with Archie Sonic character files, I just use scans just for high quality images, but, being an Archie Sonic fan for so long, I want to try and complete my collection. So I definitely got quite a good bundle because, Archie Sonic comics usually tend to be on the more expensive side on eBay and Amazon and blah, blah, blah. But at the gaming convention, I got pretty lucky in getting a good haul of them for like $5 a piece most of the time. And I remember the vendor that was the guy that was hosting his vendor or whatnot that had the comics. Yeah, I showed him like all the comics I got, and along with a few other miscellaneous ones, like a few minifigures of Sonic X characters. So he kind of looked it over, and it must have been like 140 or so. But then he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you what, how about you give me 100 for all this?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so yeah, 100 for a good chunk of Archie Sonic, yeah, sweet deal." Because like with $100 in terms of Archie Sonic, that would probably result to only like 3. And I got like 6 or 12 or whatever the image is showing on screen there. But yeah, it was a nice time. And then after that, I once again decided to attend Ponyville Ciderfest because I had such a great time in 2023, so I went to the one in 2024. So yeah, that was kind of a big time because, the creativity unleashed, that was the theme. So yeah, as a follow-up to how the previous event ended. So yeah, I went there, especially it was kind of a big year because, it was, well, technically the 10th anniversary of Ciderfest. Like, there was a convention in 2020, but that was all, like, virtual because, COVID came in and ruined everything. So technically this is the first in-person 10th anniversary kind of deal at Ciderfest. And yeah, it was kind of a first for me in terms of the building that they were hosting it at because they announced that they were going to be going back to the original building where the Ciderfest always started and whatnot. Because the one I went to 2023, that was in a different building. So I went to the original one. And yeah, it was interesting. I can see why people prefer the original building much better. It's definitely maybe a little more, I guess, a little more organized. So, there's like a lot of things that are close by and whatnot. It doesn't take too far to walk from here to there and yada yada. And then of course the guests that they got, that was yeah, that was a nice surprise. So one thing that really surprised me was that the voice of Flash Magnus and oh yeah, Ellie Ray, who also did Miss Main and Grandma Figgy, yeah, they came back because yeah, that was nice. They were in Ciderfest 2023, so it was a nice surprise to see them again in 2024. Man, I tell you, if Ellie Ray is going to an MLP convention, you're gonna have a good time. And aside from that, we also got some G5 MLP voice actresses. Like we got Anna Savai, well, the voice of Izzy Moonbow, the one from the Make Your Mark and Tell Your Tales one, not the one from the movie. So, the kind of the main Izzy Moonbow voice. And aside from that, we also got the voice of Misty Bright Dawn. Yeah, I was definitely excited to see her because, yeah, Misty is definitely one of my favorite G5 characters next to Izzy. And, oh yeah, and then we got the voice of Sweetie Belle, who was attending the convention, yeah. That's kind of funny, yeah. Winnie City, I got to meet the voice of Rarity, and then Ciderfest 2024, I got to meet Sweetie Belle. Yeah, my favorite out of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. So yeah, for this time I was able to stay for all 3 days of the convention, and yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Got to see some, familiar faces and whatnot, and having a good time at the panels, and yeah, the whole creativity chaos thing that they had going on. Oh yeah, then yeah, speaking of voice actors, so it's kind of creative chaos and whatnot. So you think Discord would be all over that, but no, John Delancey wasn't there. Although technically he was there because they did show off a video like that Cameo website. So when they showed him in a video, doing the announcement for the convention. So it was still nice, seeing him playing old Discord again. Yeah, so man, yeah, there's just so many things to do at a Ciderfest, so many panels and events to go to and yada yada. And oh yeah, then the whole autographs. Yeah, this one I kind of mostly just autographs mostly for myself. So I went and met the voice of Misty, I really wanted to get an autograph for her. So yeah, like she was very sweet, really having a good time. And yeah, I showed her all the Fluttershy pins that I have on me because yeah, I still stick to the whole Fluttershy themed jacket and hat and whatnot. And as the conventions go on, I've kind of been starting my own collection of Fluttershy pins, and I definitely got quite a lot of good ones in 2024. Yeah, the Alicorn Fluttershy themed one, and lots of others. So yeah, she was very sweet, having a good time. And yeah, then later on I got to meet Sweetie Belle, which yeah, much like Rarity, that was also a long wait because she's one of the more most reoccurring characters, most popular minor character. Well, one of the more popular ones. But yeah, it was definitely worth the wait. Got to have her sign this pin, because Sweetie Belle is best pony. So yeah, it was nice. And then, of course, yeah, the panel, the script reading, yeah, that's always a lot of fun. So with the creative chaos thing, it's like, oh, the characters of, like, Izzy and Misty and all the others, they have to deal with, the evil threats of the Board of Boredom. And apparently, like, Sweetie Belle is part of the evil group. So, yeah, I don't know, for some reason it's kind of hilarious. And yeah, it's kind of hilarious just hearing, like, an evil Sweetie Belle. So, yeah, there was that in the panels. And, oh, yeah, I guess I should probably mention, so one of the panels I've usually gone to is Cards Against Equestria, because, it's basically a pony-themed version of Cards Against Humanity. More adult-themed and whatnot, yada yada. Part of their After Dark panels and whatnot. Yeah, I've mostly gone there, mostly because a friend of mine that I know from a different server who's also part of the official Ciderfest and Winnie City servers. So, like, we met there and we decided to, meet up for the first time in Ciderfest 2023, so... Yeah, he usually hosts that panel of Cards Against Equestria. It's a charity thing and stuff like that. And we'd still have a good time reading all these, all the disgusting and, perverted stuff. Because, I mean, if you've seen me on Dissected Alive, you know how I can be a bit, a bit of a loose cannon with that kind of stuff. So, yeah, for the theme of creative chaos, I decided to, okay, we'll read all these, cards that I've been given to you and do it in my Gilbert Gottfried voice. And yeah, man, people were just howling with laughter when I did the whole card readings. Like one that I can think of was oh geez the worst thing that Princess Cadence did was when she made Princess Celestia and Big Mac's juicy apples fall in love. So yeah, that was that's the one that I usually remember. But oh yes, like even so, that's always a good time. And yeah, apparently even Voice of Flash Magnus was even there. Like, of course we couldn't film or record him like actually reading the cards and whatnot because didn't want to get sued by him. But even so, it was still a good time. Yeah, very good time. In fact, after going through these conventions, I kind of feel like I've been starting to have an interest for Flash Magnus, which is kind of funny, because when it comes to the Pillars of Equestria, I'm not sure if I really have a favorite. I guess I kind of thought of Mage Meadowbrook, because, yeah, I guess she's the Fluttershy of the group. And then later on, I kind of started liking Sunambula more, mostly for the design. But, yeah, after seeing the official voice actor attending the conventions, like, yeah, I've definitely been having some more interest in Flash Magnus. And of course, Miss Main, because, Allie Ray's always been attending, well, attending the ones that I went to. But, yeah, good times. And now we have the future. Yeah, what is it that I'm going to be doing for 2025? Well, since we're right off of the conventions thing, I might as well briefly mention that. So, well, I was thinking of going to Winnie City again, but they announced that that's been canceled because, yeah, the organization that handles both Winnie City and Ciderfest, yeah, with Ciderfest 2024, they were a bit behind with announcements and details and whatnot. And so they decided to try and cut back on the, the stress and whatnot. So, okay, we'll try and focus on just one a year. So, yeah, sadly, there won't be a Winnie City 2025. There are plans for a 2025 Ciderfest, which I'm hoping to go to. And, yeah, maybe this time, Voice of Fluttershy will be there, because, yeah, out of all the voice actors from Friendship is Magic, that's the one I really want to meet the most. I want to meet Fluttershy's voice actress, because she's my favorite. And, like, same deal with Adagio Dazzle, like I mentioned before. So, right, videos. What do I have planned for videos on this, YouTube stuff and whatnot? So, yeah, well, I'm always gonna be having Forgotten Media. That's still gonna be a thing. I'm kind of surprised I've still been able to keep it up for so long. So, I mean, this year is gonna be, like, 14 years since I started Forgotten Media. And the thing, 2026 is gonna be the 15th anniversary. Man, how time flies. So, yeah, there's, Forgotten Media is still going to be a thing. I'll most likely do another, Oz month thing. And, the whole idea about, the 13 days of Halloween for Forgotten Media, yeah, who knows? Maybe that's where I'll be doing most of my, my time and effort for Forgotten Media to, plan those, like, way ahead in advance and get those done. But, like, we'll see, and, like, future stuff can change and whatnot. And, of course, I'll still be doing Archie Sonic character files. Yeah, I'll still be doing that stuff. And, I definitely have some characters in mind. Like, here's just a random thumbnails just to give you an idea of what I've had in the pipeline for a while. And, maybe a few more Ken Penders characters, which at first I thought I hadn't done one, but then I remembered, oh, wait, I already did Nick the Weasel. Yeah, she's a Ken Penders character. So, yeah, in terms of who would be next on the list, well, I've always had Constable Remington on my mind. I think he'd be an interesting character to talk about. But yeah, there's others. Oh yeah, and then there's the Shadow the Hedgehog one. Yeah, that's actually been something that I've been working on for quite a long time, mostly because that's a co-op episode with Dracold, who's been around, another one of Roger's friends, who some people might remember him from the Shadow Dissected episode that they did on Sonic Dissected. So yeah, I kind of pitched to him the idea, like, oh yeah, he's a Shadow fan, so I like to see his thoughts on Archie's take on the character. So we've been working on that. It's kind of been a slow process because, time zone differences and our own personal busy lives and yada yada. But yeah, that's definitely in the works. So I guess while that's being worked on, I could try and do like a few smaller episodes. And, oh yeah, I've also had ideas of doing like other Archie Sonic themed videos. So like just kind of random ideas. So like one that I've shown off before is doing a video covering the entire timeline of Archie Sonic's post Super Genesis Wave timeline. Because that thing hasn't really been properly documented, I guess, because, there's definitely a lot of holes here and there, and so it kind of be like a nice way to put that together into a video, and also be a nice challenge to work on that. Another idea was, this was something that Rhino kind of brought up in the live stream, which I never really got to answering to, mostly because either I wasn't paying attention to the live chat, or mostly because there's just a big delay on my end when we do the streams. But yeah, recent Sonic X comic that we did was the story with Sonic and the game trapped in this virtual reality based on the levels from the first Sonic game. And it's actually quite similar to what Archie would do later with the Sonic Genesis story arc. So I figured I would do like a video just talking about, the Sonic X story versus the Archie Sonic story. Which one does it better, the differences, and yada yada. And, oh yeah, then of course, yeah, YouTube poops, well, it's just one of those things, like, if I'm in the right mood, then who knows if I'll do more of them. I know with the live stream, we've actually been doing a lot more, mini YouTube poops, I guess, because, we kind of do, like, these, like, parody spoofs of, like, intros that we did for Sonic Underground. So to try and keep that going when we did Adventures of Sonic, I suggested, oh, let's do a YouTube poop-themed kind of intro, because, Adventures of Sonic's always been, associated with that kind of material. So, yeah, we've been doing a bit of that and giving people, the opportunity to do YouTube poops for the first time with whatever software that they were using. And, of course, I got to throw in my hat into the ring with doing a few intros. Like, here's one example that I did, which is one of my personal favorites that I've done so far.
What are we gonna do?
How could my duty not be my top priority? Because no excuses.
I walk a lonely road, having a good time.
If you want to, you'll be doomed to.
Look, it's the casino.
Dumb fabric. Maya.
But don't you want to see Cloud across the finish line?
Night.
So yeah, lots of wiggy stuff on the live stream that we're still going on. Because, yeah, we're still doing Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and currently we're still doing the rest of the Sonic X comics. So, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, especially with whoever's going to be doing the next intro themed for each episode. So, yeah, so we definitely got a lot of plans for Dissected Alive. Right now, we're taking a break from that, because, yeah, we would do it, like, bi-weekly, but then after the new year started, they're like, oh, we need some time to rest up and yada yada. So the next time we're going to do a live stream for Dissected Live. We're planning to mostly just talk about our thoughts on Sonic Movie 3. Because last time we talked about our non-spoiler thoughts, well, us, that's just me and you, because we were the only ones that saw it during that time. But yeah, when we get back live, like, hopefully by then everybody else will have seen the movie, so that we can go, spoiler heavy on stuff and talk about our in-depth thoughts on the movie. So, look forward to that on Roger's channel. Aside from that, yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of. So, yeah, that's about it. So I'll see you next time.